It's Monday, December 19th. This is a morning SPY update here, about an hour into trading, and you can see what's developing here so far on the daily chart. We're still inside of yesterday or Friday, starting to turn a little bit green. There was actually a pretty decent move to the downside with both in the index and a few stocks, but what's happening here is kind of what I anticipated might happen given the 4 days in a row to the downside, a little bit of exhaustion risk. On the 15-minute chart, obviously, the first bar kind of paused, then we started lower, so there was a little break to the downside you could have played, but on that bar, we kind of had a tail develop. Then on the next bar, we tried to go lower and we developed another tail, so it was time to kind of take a break even, kind of look at this type of movement. We didn't really reach yesterday's lows. We kind of paused here. What this yellow line is, that's kind of what I call the close from yesterday, which incorporates, some overnight data. But anyway, we're heading up here now. So this is the type of thing where if we kind of break above the the intraday high, we could be now moving up a little bit towards the top of that range. It's not necessarily a big, update type of thing, although there could be some good buy opportunities with the right stocks. But what I'd prefer to see here, and I discussed this on the pre-opening video, is some type of broadening action to the upside that rolls over to the downside and that aligns with, if it can, the pre-market and opening data, or a failure kind of move. So in other words, if we head up, broadening action to the upside to me means we kind of come down and then we kind of get some higher highs in the short run that then roll over to the downside. So if we get that today up in here, obviously the structure on the day is going to be to the upside. I wouldn't expect any major, sell signal in that sense. But maybe if we do that today and then on the open tomorrow, broaden a little higher and then kind of come down, that would be a good kind of broadening higher rolling over signal. Or sometimes you can get an intraday move where you get that, let's say for the next 2 days, we're kind of up there, we get an intraday high, but then we take out the intraday lows. That could be another failure move type of thing. So it could either happen at the open or it can happen intraday. Structure today, if it heads up there, wouldn't really be a good short signal. I think we're just consolidating now in this area for a while. And again, the ideal trades would be broadening higher before we start lower, although you never know. This is kind of the moment of truth here. I mean, we're kind of coming up. If we can't really take out that high, intraday high, and get kind of a big 2 down bar that starts to threaten these lows again, fine, you can continue staying short. But I'd be very careful in here right now to see if we really follow through to the downside or not. And again, like I said, this is to me is like a moment of truth, and you could just, in terms of risk, just you don't have to be in the market right now. You can kind of watch it closely, and you might miss the move. That's okay. But this is a little tricky here, given the opening price action that kind of wanted to fail on that first move down. But we're coming right to a point, kind of in the midpoint of that first bar, where it should roll over if it's going to stay, weak on the day. But if not, then anticipate maybe we have to broaden out a little higher before the rolling over back to the downside. So we'll see what happens. We're still to the downside technically, but I just wanted to point out what's developing here. And if I was trading just this index itself, I probably would have broken even here and now watch it a little more closely. I'd get in on more of a 2 down bar that threatens these lows to the downside. I'd maybe get low if we break out above that area. I'd look for maybe some short-term, buy trades, and then in time, I'm going to still really get aggressive at some point, getting short when we roll over. Hopefully after a little bit of a rally to the upside.